So now that we know a little bit about the different parts of the cell and why the cell is important to the body, I want to talk about cell division for just a minute. There's really two main types of cell division. The first one we're going to talk about is mitosis, and this is the type of cell division that increases the total number of cells. This is how animals grow. This is where chromosome pairs are duplicated in each cell, and then so you end up with one cell with two sets of the same chromosomes, and then that cell actually splits and divides, and you end up with two cells. So this results in animal growth. Animals begin really as a single cell. So you have your ovum and you have your sperm, and the ovum has half of the chromosomes that the animal needs, and the sperm has the other half. So when they come together, they actually form a complete set of chromosomes. That is your single-celled organism. And then as that single-celled organism divides via mitosis, that's how the animal then begins to grow and develop in the womb. So chromosomes are duplicated in each new cell as division occurs. Then those cells split and you end up with two different cells as opposed to one single cell. So this is kind of a diagram of mitosis. This is how everything happens. We're going to break this down a little bit. So there are 4 stages in mitosis. So there's prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Prophase is the first stage of mitosis. This is where the nucleolus disappears. So remember, the nucleolus is that little thing that's inside the nucleus. This is where all the chromosomes live, in the nucleus. So the nucleolus disappears. And the centrioles, which are will move to opposite ends of the cells, or to the opposite ends of the cell, the nucleus within the cell, really. And then fibers will actually begin to form and extend from the centromeres. And the centromeres are those centralized parts of the chromosome. And those fibers are actually what's going to pull the chromosomes apart. So then in metaphase, the spindle fibers are going to align the chromosomes along the middle of the cell nucleus. So you actually end up with this like line of chromosomes. Then in anaphase, those paired chromosomes will separate, so those spindle fibers will pull the chromosomes apart. They'll move to opposite ends of the nucleus. And then in telophase, a new nuclear membrane will actually come around each set of chromosomes and will kind of come together in like a pinched part of the middle and then eventually separate. And so you end up with 2 different nuclei within the same cell, and then the cell membrane will contract and do the exact same thing that the nuclear membrane did. So it'll come around each new nucleus and split into 2 cells. So meiosis. Meiosis it basically starts out as mitosis and then it goes a step further. So this is the type of cell division that produces your sex cells. So your ovum and your sperm, okay? They're also known as gametes, okay? So sex cells, whether that be your ovum or your sperm, are also known as gametes. And those gametes have half the number of chromosomes that body cells have, all right? So meiosis is where the sex cells are formed. These sex cells will then come together to create a full cell with a full set of genetic information. So, gamete formation, so one set of chromosomes comes from the sperm, one set comes from the ovum. When they come together, you get a full set of chromosomes. So the zygote, which is that single-celled organism that is created during fertilization, will end up having chromosomes from each parent. Okay, so that's how our genetics are formed. Those chromosomes will match up with one another based on the genetic information they carry. So it could be that there's a chromosome for eye color, and the chromosome for eye color is found in both the mother and the father. So once those two come together, that's how the baby's eye color is then determined. So this is the full set of meiosis, and we're going to break this down very briefly. This is going to be a really brief overview of meiosis. So sex cell formation of the sperm and the ova are produced through meiosis. So production of sperm is called spermatogenesis. Males will actually begin producing sperm at sexual maturity. Spermatocytes will divide into spermatids through meiosis, and those spermatids are what then become mature sperm as they sit in the epididymis, and that is what will be ejaculated into the female. production of ovum is called oogenesis. It's not called oogenesis, it's called oogenesis. Females will begin producing ova at sexual maturity. The oocytes divide and then form an ovum, which is your egg. The ovum contains cytoplasm and stored food. So this is actually how the zygote survives for a little while until it attaches to the uterine wall. And that ovum provides the nourishment for the zygote and the embryo. The sperm, all it really carries is genetic information. The ovum carries genetic information as well as nourishment and cytoplasm. All right, we'll talk about chromosomes and genes in the next video.